Hey everyone, today we'll be replacing the reverse light on the LED taillights for the Mark 7, Golf R, and GTI. The LEDs are the European LEDs that can fit the Golf, GTI, and Golf R. The bulbs are all LEDs except for the reverse light. The reverse light is just a small sliver of space that they've allocated, so we really don't have a whole lot of room to work with. However, we're going to try a special bulb to try to increase the illumination that can be outputted from this particular space. The tools that you'll need for this project include a socket wrench with an 8mm socket on the end to remove the taillight assembly. You could try to do this project with the taillights installed, but it may be very difficult to reach the areas that we will be accessing to do the trimming for the larger bulb. So you're better off removing the taillight assembly and working on it on a workbench. Because the taillight is fairly sensitive to scratches, you'll want a soft cloth like a towel or something like that to lay the taillight on while you work on it. And I'll be using a Dremel, or I suppose any type of Dremel. This one's oscillating, has the oscillating head on the top. I think probably just the regular old Dremel would probably do a little bit better job, but either one should work, or anything that does grinding I think should probably suffice. So now inside the back of the hatch, we're going to access the access panel for the taillight. To do that, take your fingernail and place it in the slot on the side of the panel, pull down on it, and then grab it to pull outward, and it removes like that. Next, we'll need to unplug the connector, the electrical connector itself, which is right here. There's a little red snap here that we need to pull down on. Now that it's pulled down, there's a black tab here that will push in, as so, and then pull down, and it is now unplugged. Get that out of the way. Next, we'll take our 8mm screws and unscrew. Now we will lift the tail light out of the back of the hatch, and you can push up on the underside of it, and it is released. Okay, now that we have our tail light out, we have it on a soft surface. I laid a towel out so I don't scratch anything. First thing we'll want to do is on the back, let's take the weather stripping off, just on hooks from the hooks in the back. And we'll set that aside. We have unplugged the incandescent bulb. We're now ready to start trimming the fitting, or the hole, to accept our wider bulb in here, as this will not fit. So we're going to take our Dremel and we're going to shave off one side of this to accept the larger bulb. We're going to do this strategically so that we don't interfere with the connectors in there. So on the top we have a narrow slot and a wider slot on the bottom, which corresponds to how the connector has pins along the side. Once you plug the connector in, you'll give it a quarter turn, And you see on the inside there's these stops in here. So what we'll need to do is we're going to liberate one of these stops on one of the sides. We're still going to retain the one on the opposite side on the bottom, but we're going to take the one on the top and the open area up here to gain access to our housing. Now we're going to use the top of the hole here for doing this. If you were to do it, let's say on the bottom or on the inside or the other side, because of the shape of the housing, there really isn't a whole lot of room for the bulb to go in without striking the sides of the housing. So we're going to go in through the top here, which allows plenty of room for the bulb to go in and then get seated as we twist the bulb into place. So next we're going to take our Dremel and we're going to take this top section out from about, let's say, 11 o'clock to about 1 o'clock here. So you can see that there's a little small ridge here. So we're going to start from there and take it to about here, but not to interfere with this inside bottom stop, so that the bulb can firmly attach. So now we'll take the Dremel and we'll trim that out. Success. Now that we've done our grounding work with the Dremel, we're going to need to make sure that any shavings are out of the housing, as there will be some in there. Probably don't want to use compressed air or anything like that, because that might just move around those shavings further around inside there, which you don't want to have happen. If you have perhaps a small vacuum or suction device, that might be a nice thing to give a try as well, but certainly you can't detect that there's any shavings in there, so we're good there. Okay, so that was the hardest part of the process. Taking a look at our workmanship here, we have notched out the top a bit. so that we have room at the top here. So now we can replace the bulb with our larger LED bulb. It's a quarter turn and that plugs into the socket. And now that's locked into place. We're good to go. So now we'll put this back in the car. Of course, don't forget our insulating waterproofing here. You just push these back onto the hooks so they have a nice flush fit to that. A little hook down here. All right. So that's all set to go. Now we'll put this back in the car and we'll give it a test. Now we're ready to replace the taillight back into the rear hatch assembly here. Make sure you have a nice fit and that it's on there properly. And then we'll replace the screws back underneath here. Now we're replacing our screws with our 8mm screws. Make sure we don't strip them. I'm using the fittings so that we don't, the screwdriver so I don't drop it. And make sure that they're snug. Okay. Now we'll replace the power connector into the back of the housing here. Just push it in until it snaps. And we can push the red bar to lock it into place. Now we'll replace the cover. To do that, the two tabs you'll put underneath the inside here to make sure they clip on there, and then push. And just snaps back into place. And you're done. So we'll test these out. Yes. Very bright. Very impressed. Looks great.